28? Yeah, well, she said at the back, so I looked at the end. There's 2 sets. Good morning. Is Brian Atahualpa in the audience? Brian Atahualpa?
Not appearing.
Raymond Brandes?
Appearing.
Mr. Brandes, you've been nominated by the mayor for an appointment to the Federally Qualified Health Center Board of Commission. Would you like to make a statement to the council at this time?
Yes, just a very brief statement. Good morning. My name is Raymond Brandes. I currently work as the VP of Population Health and Strategic Planning at University Hospital. My number one priority in that role is increasing access to health care and improving health outcomes for the citizens of Newark. At University Hospital, we are working to reconsider how we provide health care to our most vulnerable patient populations. If you saw recently University Hospital's chaplain program that was announced, that's the sort of work I do at the hospital. I believe that we need to provide health care that is realistic regarding the social determinants of health and that addresses those determinants when possible. I am a strong advocate for expanding access to primary care and a big fan of the work that is being done at the Mary Eliza Mahoney Health Center by Dr. Wade and by the city. I believe that my broad background of government service will add value to Dr. Wade's work.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have a resume?
Yes, it's probably here.
Yes, I
I
believe.
looked in my folder.
No, it's here, yes.
It's missing from my folder.
It's a one-page, it's,
Oh,
It's
yeah. Anyone else want to respond to this candidate's, I don't want to mess your name up.
Raymond Brandes.
Yes. This candidate's application.
Thank you all.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're an attorney.
I am an attorney, yes.
Okay.
Oh, he likes that.
And not only that, he went to Rutgers.
Yes.
Oh, he rented.
That's even more important.
Terrific.
You rub that so much.
Well, it's my alma mater.
Good.
Good school.
I'm a Seton Hall
And
guy,
the
so.
VA is alma mater. So it does matter.
It does matter, absolutely.
Go Pirates.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will be voting
I do.
on your name on tomorrow. Madam Clerk, next for
Gerald Whitaker?
appearing.
Pirates.
Please state your name and address for the record. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you. Gerald Whitaker, 26 Lessing Road, West Orange, New Jersey.
Mr. Whitaker, the mayor has appointed you to serve on the Federally Qualified Health Center Board. Would you like to make a statement to the council at this time?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Gerald Whitaker, and I pastor a church here in the Central Ward for the past 10 years, a church called The Sanctuary up on Martin Luther King Boulevard. And I also own a construction business where we provide semi-skilled laborers to large-scale construction projects. And so I not only serve the spiritual needs of the community, but the practical needs. And through our business, we have, over the past 5 years, provided probably 200 Newarkers with jobs that pay a living wage. And most of our guys and ladies are reentering society. So we created this business to create jobs and give people an opportunity that otherwise probably would not have that opportunity. And we train them not only in work, but everything from the work ethic to conflict resolution, how to manage their money, all kinds of things. And so my heart and my interest was piqued when my friend, Dr. Wade, invited me or made me aware of this opportunity to serve. And so I have been friends with Dr. Wade for 30 years. Our families are fast friends for many, many years. And I just look forward to bringing whatever resource I can, both business, human. In fact, we've already partnered with the health department and hired several people that were either reentry or from the shelter, and again, paid them a living wage. So the partnership has already really begun, and I look forward to advancing it in any way that I can. Thank you.
Any other comments? Certainly, I want to thank the mayor for selecting you as a candidate for this very important Board of Commissioners. You have described in some detail your experiences brought that are going to be very important to the health, wealth, and success. So congratulations in advance, and we will vote on you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Petro Abdel Masai.
How are you?
Please state your name and address for the record.
Sure, it's Petro Abdel Messiah, 522 Jackson Avenue, Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Mr. Masai, the mayor has appointed you to the Taxi Cab Commission. Is there a statement you'd like to make to the council at this time?
So I would just like to say good morning. And I'm honored to have this opportunity to serve the city of Newark. Parents have been in the taxi business since the 80s, since my father came over from Egypt. And I hope to be able to serve the taxi industry, in any way I can, and hopefully we can work together.
Anyone?
Yes,
Councilman Gonzalez.
that's a commission that is very important because of the services that they provide and the encounters they have every day with the residents of Newark and the people that visit the city of Newark. And we don't pay too much attention to that commission, and I believe it's imperative that we have people that are going to be, let's say, very careful in evaluating the credentials of the people that apply to be licensed by that commission, and that the taxis are maintained and operated in a safe way so that we can, or the people that visit the city of Newark can trust the drivers and that the cars are going to be functioning properly when they pay a fare.
Any other, I'm sorry, very important. Any other comments for this candidate? I just want to ditto what Councilman Gonzalez has already said, and hope that your leadership as a part of this commission will make some of those requests a reality.
I will do my best.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a blessed day.
Yes, Councilman Ramos.
It's not about the candidate. I just want to congratulate you on your recommendation to be on this board. But through your chair, I would like to ask to see if you would consider reestablishing the taxi committee of the council. I think there's some issues that this council needs to be aware of that's definitely affecting operators within the city. And there used to be a very active committee of this council that would work closely with the taxi commission. And I would ask through your chair and the clerk to see if we could reestablish that.
You're absolutely right, Councilman. It was one of the most active committees. And so, Madam Clerk, to the clerk, through my chair, we will do just that. Anyone who's interested, council members, who's interested in joining that committee, please notify me ASAP. Thank you.
Fiordalisa Lopez.
Not appearing.
He's here.
Where is he?
She.
Oh, I mean she.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Fiordalisa Lopez, 193 Manchester Place, Newark, New Jersey.
Ms. Lopez, the mayor has appointed you to the Commission on the Status of Women. Is there a statement you'd like to make at this time?
Excuse me?
Would you like to make a statement to the council regarding your appointment?
Yes.
Please proceed.
And somebody help Floridia out in Espanol?
Thank you, I'm sorry. I'm so nervous.
Any comments from council members?
Madam President,
Yes.
I'll take responsibility in the nomination. I've known Ms. Lopez for at least 20 years. She's a very active member of our community, actively involved in the San Rosa Lima Parish, and I think she's going to be a great addition to this commission, and I just want to congratulate you in advance.
Can I be a
and
seconder?
Thank her for her service.
I'd like to be a seconder.
Okay.
Madam President, I concur. You know, this young lady, as I would put, she is very dedicated in terms of volunteering on any ward throughout the city. She's always volunteering for something. So her and her daughter, and she makes her daughter volunteer too.
Thank you.
So that makes it better. So thank you for your service, and I know you will contribute a lot to the Women's Commission.
Thank you, our Mayor Rasparak and everybody to take me for this position. And thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
And
Yes.
congratulations. Mr. Clerk,
Anthony Timmons.
appearing.
Mr. Timmons, would you just state your name and address for the record?
Anthony Timmons, 129 Chancellor Avenue, Newark, New Jersey.
Mr. Timmons, you have been nominated by the mayor for an appointment as a Class 4 member of the Central Planning Board. Do you have a statement that you wish to make to the council before they begin their questions?
This is an honor and a privilege to be back in front of you guys again, and I'm having a wonderful experience with what I've gained so far, and a lot of things have come into play. As a community person for years, this is an outstanding thing, and no matter how many times I stand in front of this microphone, I'm still nervous when I'm in front of the microphone. That's it.
Madam President?
Yes.
If I may ask Mr. Timmons, do you have any kind of real estate experience? Because this commission is the one that determines where development takes place in the city of Newark, and we have had some development in areas that, or some time of development in areas that is not concordant with the rest of the community, and we have to be watchful in the planning board that we have a development that is in agreement more or less with the rest of the community, so that it's not an eyesore in the community, and you are going to be one of those members of that commission. I trust that you will follow the master plan of the city of Newark, and that you would apply your intelligence to make sure that the development that happens in the city of Newark is concordant with the rest of the community where the development is happening, so that we don't have the look that sometimes we see in some parts of the community.
Yes, I understand that, and I'm Newark. I'm Newark.
Good.
Anyone else?
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Timmons.
I'd like to be noted as a sponsor.
Second.
Kathy Doughton.
She's coming.
Good morning. Would
Mr.
you just state
Clerk,
your
I
name and
think
address
you-
for the record?
Mr. Clerk,
Yes,
I think you skipped page 30.
those are reappointments.
Oh, that's, all right, these are
And we're not voting for some of them.
thank you. I didn't read it.
Okay, I'm not going.
I knew we weren't doing the councilman.
I'm not the appointee.
You're not the appointee?
For affirmative action,
AJ.
Then we will be returning this to administration to get the correct item. Okay. Ms. Stoughton, would you just state your name and address for the record?
Sure, Kathy Dalton, 60 Nevada Place.
Ms. Stoughton, you have been nominated by the mayor for an appointment to the Commission on the Status of Women. Do you have a statement that you wish to make to the council before they begin their questions?
I just want to say this is a great opportunity for me. I work at the Shani Baraka Women's Resource Center. Being a part of something that involved with my work, I can bring to the table as well as learn things to take back to the center from, you know, the people that I will be working at on the committee, on the committee.
Any comments?
Council President, I just want to say thank you, Ms. Kathy, for taking on another responsibility here in the city of Newark. I appreciate everything that you do in the community, everything that you do, especially for the Central Ward, as well as at the Shani Baraka Center. So I do want to be noted as a sponsor for this appointment.
Thank you.
Or second?
I'll second it.
Seconded, Councilman Gonzalez. Congratulations, and we vote on you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk?
Shakira McKnight?
Not appearing.
Not appearing? Okay, we will come back to her.
We have Mr. Atahualpa here.
Is he here?
Yes.
Would he please come to the microphone?
Brian?
Brian?
Brian, where are you?
Good morning. Would you just state your name and address for the record?
Brian Atahualpa, and I live in 192 Lincoln Avenue.
You have been nominated by the mayor for an appointment to be a regular member of the LGBTQ Questioning Advisory Commission. Do you have a statement that you wish to make to the council before they begin their questions?
Yes.
Proceed.
Firstly, good morning, council members. I want to start out by thanking our mayor and his office for reaching out to me. I would take this opportunity, if given to me, to continue helping more people and expand in other wards, not just the north or west, where my family is from. So I'm just very thankful for your time as well.
Any comments, questions? Councilman Ramos.
I want to congratulate Brian in anticipation. Brian is pretty much everywhere. You go to any ward in the city, and you know Brian is very actively involved in all kinds of events and supporting organizations, and just very happy to see that he's being nominated to one of our important boards and commissions. So congratulations.
Thank
Madam
you.
President, if I may.
Yes.
Yes, Brian is one of the influencers on Facebook. He's all over the place with Maria, Illescas, and Brian, the two Peruvians, I believe, that have more posts in the United States. So congratulations, continue doing what you do, and make us proud.
Thank you.
Council President, I just want to
Yes.
say, echo is exactly what my council colleagues said. I mean, Brian is like a junior mayor all through the city of Newark and outside the city of Newark. So it is a pleasure to see you appointed to a commission. And, you know, we just look forward to seeing you probably tonight at the next event. So thank you so much, Brian, for everything that you do. And I would like to sponsor, if no one already
I'll
sponsored.
second.
Thank you.
I'm seconding the nomination. They're right, you're everywhere. No matter which ward, you're everywhere. And someone who is willing to sacrifice the time and that you put in as a community activist, the mayor was very wise to nominate you. And I am happy to second the nomination made by Councilwoman McIver. Go and do more good work.
Congrats.
That
That
it?
was a great job, yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
That's it.
Yes.
Before we move on, Ms. McKnight, has she come back to the chamber? Okay.
That's it.
Let's go to the regular agenda. As you can see, we have almost a full load of speakers for the hearing of citizens. Are there any questions on the reports from the boards and commissions?
None.
Ordinance on first reading, we will be deferring 6FA, 6FB, 6FC, and 6FD. These are all the Airbnb, and we are going to defer one more time.
How many times?
Roll call.
This, huh?
Yes.
6FE is the security guard ordinance. Councilwoman?
Anyway,
To be deferred one more time.
Okay. Do I have a second for the deferral? Okay. F is revises certain requirements related to lots 30, 31, 40, 31, 34, 40, 42, 45, 80, and 82 in Block 447. This is in the area bound by Mount Pleasant Avenue, Clay Street, and McCarter Highway. This is an amendment to the third amendment to the Newark River Public Access Redevelopment Plan. Questions?
Councilwoman?
I'm fine with it going. I have to speak.
Council as a whole?
Oh, yes, yeah, definitely.
Council as a whole.
Definitely not sponsoring it.
Yeah, Madam President.
Yes, Councilman.
I remember when this came up at the last meeting, we had also requested from Economic Development, like a timeline, development timeline for this, because I know they're doing this amendment with the hopes that, particular property owner in that area is able to finally move forward on a development plan. They've been talking about this for at least as long as I've been here, and we haven't seen any kind of activity. So, I would just like, through the Central Ward Councilwoman and through your chair, for us to get at least a timeline from Economic Development as to what they're proposing to do and when do they anticipate hopefully getting approvals and breaking ground on the project.
Yes, Council President, yeah, I'm supposed to kind of follow up with them today regarding this item, just some questions that I had as well, so definitely I'll reiterate that about the timeline as well, which is very important.
Any other comments? Council as a whole tomorrow.
Okay.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
On ordinance on public reading, second hearing and final passage, 6PSNFA would establish the Employee Ownership Loan Guarantee Program and rules for qualifying certain businesses as minority, women, and veteran-owned.
And Councilman James is not here today. However, he did not call with any specific instructions, so we will confer with him and take care of what needs to be done tomorrow.
Okay. B, granting a 30-year tax abatement to the Irving Turner Apartments Urban Renewal LLC. This is for to rehabilitate 4 buildings containing 94 affordable housing units at 385-391, 393-395, 396-402, 397-403, and 416-432 Irving Turner Boulevard. C is
The next item.
C is a 30-year tax abatement for the Center City Apartments Urban Renewal. This is for a project to rehabilitate 2 buildings containing 49 affordable housing units.
Comments? Next item.
D grants a 23-year tax abatement to the 98 Freelandheisen Real Estate Urban Renewal Entity LLC. This is for a project to deliver a site pad and construct a 110-room hotel above the existing parking garage at 94-120 Freelandheisen Avenue.
No comments. Next item.
Resolutions. Resolution 7R1A is use of a state contract for the purchase of pickup trucks. 1B is a temporary emergency appropriation for staffing for the adequate fire and emergency response. This is a SAFER grant.
Next item.
1C is a temporary,
I'm sorry, Councilman Gonzalez.
The SAFER grant is like $3 million, and this is for 270. What, is this additional funding?
Good morning, Richard Gale with the Fire Department. This was, there was an issue with the initial resolution that was passed. There was a typo on it. The initial resolution was $270,000 short of the actual award. So this makes up that difference. So it's going to be put on a different budget, and we're going to spend that separately from the rest of the grant, but it still remains within the parameters of the initial award.
Okay, thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, before I proceed, I'd like to go back to page 9, the Friedenheisen Real Estate Urban Renewal Entity. This
Yes.
item, we will be deferring action at tomorrow's meeting because we did this at the special last week, and because of the advertising and the time between the meetings, we cannot finalize it until next week's meeting. So we will be deferring it to the special on the 26th.
Yes, sir.
701C is a temporary appropriation to provide funds for the operating expenses until the adoption of the 2019 operating budget. This includes the Department of Water and Sewer Utilities.
Yes, Councilman.
My standard question is here. This is, I know that we completed the annual financial statement, and my question is, when should we see the budget? Mr. BA, when can we expect to see the budget?
We're working on introducing the budget before the end of the first quarter, but as,
First quarter meaning December, March 31st?
yes, that's the goal. But I want to be clear about this will be the earliest that we've ever introduced a budget, ever.
I acknowledge that.
Okay.
And, that's, as I said before, noted.
Okay.
I believe that.
So if it slips, please, you know.
No, I don't have a problem if we introduce it, let's say, by May.
Got it.
Because it would be the earliest that has been introduced since I have been here. But since people keep asking questions why the temporary emergency appropriation.
Yes.
I believe it's just fair that we introduce a budget.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk?
Seven R2A is a redevelopment agreement for the Second Amendment to the redevelopment agreement for the Old Third Ward Redevelopment LLC.
Any comments,
President,
questions?
I'm going to ask for this item to be deferred again.
I'll second.
Okay.
Next item.
2B is the investigation for an area in need of redevelopment. This is Central Ward.
Council President, I requested more information regarding this. I sent an email to our acting deputy mayor, Ms. Rogers, regarding this. I need more information on this. I'm going to go ahead to move it right now, but if I don't get it by tomorrow, I'm going to defer this, or I request for it to be deferred.
Okay, we'll deal with this at tomorrow's meeting.
Thank you.
7R4A establishes the petty cash funds for the year.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
5A is an application and acceptance of grant funds to improve screening rates and health outcomes for colorectal cancer.
Next item.
5B is a contract with, the next group through 7R5J on page 19 are all authorizing resolutions for a contract with subrecipient to provide HIV/AIDS-related health and supportive services. 5B is the Rutgers State University of New Jersey, the Special Service Dental Clinic. C is the Puerto Rican Organization for Community Education and Economic Development, Inc. D is the La Casa de Don Pedro, Inc. E is the New Jersey AIDS Services, Inc. F is the Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of Newark Urban Union County Jail Discharge Planning Program. G is the Positive Healthcare, Inc. H is the Francisco Xavier Bagmouth Center, School of Nursing. Francois. I is the Future Bridges Business Solutions, Inc. I believe this is the auditors. And J is the Rutgers State University of New Jersey START program. We will discuss 7R6A through F with Corporation Counsel in executive session. 7R7A is a professional services contract to serve as per diem public defender. 7R8A is a ceremonial street dedication. 8B is a hold harmless indemnification for the annual Easter egg hunt.
I'm sorry, Mr. Clerk. I see it's to be determined. Councilman Quintana, for Father Linder. For Father Linder. Some people ask over the weekend, have we chosen a particular?
They chose it. They have a site.
Oh, so, well, it was Richard who asked me. Okay, I was just curious.
They did.
It's not a problem.
Okay.
Next item, Mr.
C is the establishment of sister cities relationship.
I'll second that. You're going? It's okay.
When we do it with China, I'll go to China, but not with Puerto Rico, San Sebastian, it's a small town.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
8D is an appointment to the Board of Adjustment. 8E are various profound expressions of profound sorrow and regret. 8F are various recognizing and commending resolutions. 12A is a professional services contract. This is amendment number 1 to the design and construction of an administration of the improvements for the Petty Ditch CSO.
Any comments? Next item.
12B is a professional services contract. This is amendment number 1 to the professional engineering services and on an as-needed basis.
Comments? Next item.
C is a professional services contract. This is the 4th Amendment extending the period and amount of contract to design and/or administer construction of several combined sewer overflows.
Next item.
On communications, 8A is an ordinance repealing and replacing Title 8, Business and Occupations. This is requires the use of electronic database recording for secondhand and transient dealers.
Any comments?
I have a question.
Councilman Gonzalez. I don't know.
We are regulating here the people that keep records. But some of the people that operate this kind of businesses don't keep the records. They just take the metals and they heat them up right there and melt them. So we're not going to have a record of any purchase that they make or any jewels that they purchase. I believe they say this here is like controlling the arms to the people that are good citizens, but the ones that are not good citizens are going to buy firearms anyway. So I believe that this here is going to control the people on the street, the jewelers, and the operators of these places that buy used gold and all the stuff, and pawn shops. They are going to control the ones that have records. But the ones that don't keep records, they are going to continue doing whatever they do. And the fine is only $500. So if I get caught doing it, I pay the $500. So the fine should be $5,000, $10,000, so that it's a deterrent.
Mr. B.A.? We're waiting. for an explanation.
Good morning, Kenyatta Stewart, City of Newark Corporation Council. Councilman, you're right. When it comes to folk who are in this business, it's hard to keep an eye on the folk who are not doing what's responsible. We can consider increasing the fines if you all want us to,
I believe we should. The fine should be a deterrent factor. $500, if I buy, let's say, a couple of gold chains or gold watches and I melt them, I am going to make more than the $500 that the fine is. So I will expose myself to pay the $500 and continue doing it. I believe it should be something that is punitive.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember if there's a incarceration aspect of the fine as well, of the punishment.
There might be. I just read the $500 fine, and I find that is inadequate. I believe that it should be much more than that.
What I'll do is I'll speak to some folk in other municipal courts to see what their fines are equivalent to see, to balance it. And I'll also pay closer attention to the jail factor. To me, incarceration is the ultimate punishment.
The threat of incarceration, but in most cases, even when the ordinance says incarceration, not in the first offense or second offense, you're not.
Sure, that's true. That's true.
Madam President?
Yes, Councilman Ramos.
To the Corp Council, was this a piece of legislation that the Department of Public Safety requested that the city enact? What were some of the reasons why they're asking us to consider this?
Of course, because we have folk who are not doing the right thing. They have people who are buying, and I use stolen goods and things of that nature. So, that's part of the issue that we have here.
So is there, I'm not able to pull the backup because my iPad crashed, but I'm sure there's some statistics on the police side related to, property crime, et cetera, that they feel that having this type of legislation or requirement in place would assist them in investigations and getting information on individuals who may be selling stolen goods. So I'll pull it up and see if there's anything from Director Ambrose on this.
Madam President.
Yes. I'm sorry,
In the town of Broomfield, for an example, they utilize the silver and gold and then memorabilia. Any memorabilia come before, they have to also be they have to take the information for I think it's 30 days or so before, and they use memorabilia. Any sports memorabilia are also, they concur with the gold and silver. What happens was that I was talking to someone in the town of Broomfield, and what happens is that some of the folks that are selling this stuff, I'll take it over to New York, and there's no problem when you take it to New York. They don't ask for any identification, where you got it from. So people are doing that. But you have to have some enforcement. We just have ordinance. We have a lot of ordinances we don't enforce. And now who's going to go, which is true. Yes, it is. We have so many ordinances, and some of that we can't even enforce them. But again, it's going to take, what I understand, if these shops were licensed, when they renew their license, they would give you they would give you their books of who came in with their identification, because you have to have an identification. And that identification gets locked in. So what we should do is, some of these places should be licensed. Then we get when they come for a renewal, then we would know how much they sold, who they sold to, because it's important for the police to know that.
The ordinance provides for licensing.
By the police, right?
And say or 500 or 90 days. I would make it and 90 days, so that the imprisonment is certain that is going to happen, instead of the or. Because the or never, I have never seen people going to the court and being sent to jail for 90 days for any of this.
So, Mr. Corp Counsel, is this is what I read into this particular document. Is this intended to become a revenue stream that we do not have? And I have to agree with, not I have to, I want to agree with my colleagues who all spoke. I had a very difficult time as I was talking to myself as I reviewed this prior to the meeting. How are you going to track transient dealers and those persons who stay outside of the scope of legality?
Well, usually what happens is
This gives, in my opinion, it gives them a chance to wiggle out, if I can use that phrase.
Unfortunately, those folk who we really want to focus on are the people who own the shops and things of that nature. You know, the person who's going through someone's window and, you know, unfortunately, you know, violating someone's privacy and things of that nature, and, you know, of course, taking your goods. That person's never going to have a license. That person's never going to think about a license. We want to hold the people who are buying the material responsible. We will take a look at a harsher, you know, penalty, and, you know.
If you, let's say, maybe not 90 days, maybe.
No, I'm sure.
Maybe 15 days or something, some kind of deterring effect.
Sure.
Madam President.
Yes, Councilman Ramos.
I think this is a good piece of legislation, you know, having a registration process for individuals that sell, you know, gold and other items. I think it's important. We all know that there's a lot of property crime that's associated with these types of businesses, and sometimes the police division has a hard time investigating cases because there's a real lack of records when they go and visit these pawn shops and jewelry businesses. So I think this is a good start. I think, you know, some of the suggestions that Councilman Gonzalez raised, I think it's important. The other thing that's included in the ordinance is that they're going to have like a standard software that they would have to utilize in order to be licensed for this type of business, so that will also assist our police division in doing their investigations. So, you know, I definitely think it's a good start. We've talked about this for a long time, and I'm glad to see that there's finally some movement in creating some standards.
Any other comments? Mr. Clerk?
As to Councilman Quintana's concern about antiques, it's the first item of property is antiques.
Yes.
It's antiques and the
It's in this.
displays, firearms, and memorabilia, everything is here.
Yeah, I'd like to be a
With the
sponsor of
council,
this. I'd like to sponsor this.
sponsor this. Is there a second?
Second.
We're just adopting it on first, moving it to first. Okay. B is an amendment to the zoning code, which would include a new section 15 entitled Section 12.3: Professional review fees as escrow and procedures to establish professional review fees and escrow deposits for the review and administration of redevelopment applications made to the City of Newark Central Planning Board, Board of Adjustment, and the Landmarks and Historic Preservation Commission. I have a request from the administration that we advance and adopt this on first reading at tomorrow night's meeting.
Madam President.
Yes.
I would just ask the BA or the COO. Last special meeting, this body was asked to consider a number of increases in fees connected to applications that go before the Board of Adjustment, the Planning Board, and also the Historic Commission. So is this in addition to that particular ordinance that the council voted on at the last special?
Chris Watson, City Planning Officer. Councilman Ramos, this is something totally different. The escrow is being established so that we can recover from the applicants the costs for processing their applications. We are one of the only municipalities in New Jersey that don't place that burden on the applicant and absorb it ourselves. For the year, we've already seen 98 applications between the planning board and the zoning board, and we expend an average of $4,000 to $4,500 in just processing these applications. This is my office, the Office of Engineering, Water and Sewer, and in a sense, we are using city resources to allow applicants to get a free for all, in a sense. So this is a way of recouping that money.
I just want to state that I'm hopeful that with all these increases in fees associated with different proposed development applications, that it will allow the city to process these more efficiently. I mean, we understand there's a backlog in applications getting to the Board of Adjustment, but just internally, it's very cumbersome for individuals and organizations and groups that have development projects in the pipeline to get sign-offs from the building department, from the zoning office, from the water department. I mean, they have to reach out to our council offices sometimes in order for us to assist. And some of the reasons why this stuff is delayed, it's really inexcusable. So I'm hopeful that this additional revenue will be utilized in order for this administration to actually invest and staff up in some of these areas that desperately need it, because you're putting projects at risk, you're putting jobs at risk, and potentially the financing for some of these deals. And I understand the backlog of getting applications on the Board of Adjustment, but I think internally, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I didn't realize it until the last 3 weeks, where we've gotten calls from groups who are trying to build a recreation center on Roseville Avenue, a non-for-profit. Thank God, Water Department's been helpful, but some of these other city departments and divisions, I mean, it takes weeks for them to get a call back, to get a piece of paper moved from one office to the other. We're structured very inefficiently right now.
Councilwoman McIver, I'm going to allow council members to speak first.
So I agree with my council colleague, Mr. Ramos, Councilman Ramos, and I'm sure what every other council person is going to say on here today regarding this item. For me, I'm really not hopeful. I don't want to be hopeful, because we're basically going to move forward today, increasing fines or increasing costs to the developers when people are waiting almost a year to be heard in front of the planning board and zoning board. I want to bring up a point for us to get the status of EHD. What's going on with the department? What's going on with the processing? Who is it that we contact? Like, we need to have a presentation to this council regarding the status of EHD, what's happening, what's going on, because in the last 2 weeks, I have gotten so many calls, which I'm sure many council people have, regarding the status of their properties that they're trying to get, their projects, getting them off the ground. I mean, the calls have just been in flux. Sometimes when I've sat down with developers, they ask me, like, Newark's on the boom, it's happening, but are you guys ready for this? And I have to tell you, that question is embarrassing. It is. And I'm not putting blame on anybody who's sitting here. I know we've had a lot of changes, a lot of transition. However, when you're sitting down with developers and they're asking you that type of question, obviously we have to take a look at some things that we're doing, our processes, our procedures. I don't even know who to ask questions to at this point. And so we need to have a presentation to this council, especially with giving us direction on how do we move forward with the department, who do we reach out to. It is embarrassing that we do not know that, and we need to structure that. So I agree with Councilman Ramos about that, because we definitely need some guidance on how we're moving forward, so that we can ensure people who are looking to do business here in our city that everything is going to be okay, and for more people to keep coming. In order for us to do that, we need to have some conversation amongst the administration and the council.
Thank you. I just want to make a quick recommendation before I forget. Mr. Clerk, the councilwoman has recommended that we have them appear before us in a conference at a conference meeting. So please set that up. It is critical and very important because we are the face of the administration and the city, as we travel. Councilman McCallum
I just have a
and
comment.
Councilman Gonzalez.
I'm wondering if the zoning board and the central planning board even know what their duties are. I don't know if they're being explained correctly or if they know what they're supposed to be doing or what we're trying to do in the city. But I think all around the whole department, I agree with Councilwoman MacGyver that we need a presentation and it be explained to us. And it definitely needs to be explained to the central planning board and the zoning board what their duties are and what we're trying to do in the city. It's like we're fighting an uphill battle to try to get any development done. We get complaints all day long, and then they get to the zoning board. The zoning board is looking down on them like, they're the almighty, and we're trying to get the city developed. Right. So everybody has a different agenda, and it's causing the city to move along at a snail's pace. And I just don't think it's acceptable. So,
Councilman Gonzalez.
Two things. One is for us. Let's say we approve the increase of the 2 members. When are we going to appoint them? That's the first question. And the second question is, we are creating all these escrows. Who is going to maintain the accounting of all these escrows? Because every escrow that you create is going to require a lot of paperwork. Every time that you receive money and every time that you make a disbursement from one of those escrow accounts, you have to have, I believe, an accountant dedicated to only maintaining those escrow accounts. So are we, on top of these fees, going to charge the people that are going to be making the development for the escrow guy that is going to escrow person that is going to keep the accounting for the escrow funds? Because this could be snowballing. Let's say you have more engineers, we charge more. We have more accountants, we charge more. So when do we stop, is my question. And second, assume that you get, let's say, $5,000 in escrows and you spend $4,500. Do you have then to come to us for a resolution to reimburse the $500?
It's a lot.
So let's say it may create more work than we are anticipating. That's my concern.
Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Acting Deputy Mayor of Economic and Housing and Development and Director. I'm also Chief Operating Officer for the City of Newark, Natasha Rogers. So
your business card.
It's all on there. So there's a multitude of questions and concerns from the council. I will try to address all of them as much as I can. We were already prepared to have a presentation to talk about the changes within zoning and planning because there's been an array of pieces of legislation put before you to scale up the office. Since the new director or chief zoning officer has taken over, we've done an assessment and realized that staffing, well, just evaluation of the total amount of processes that goes on within that office. And we're making adjustments as we go. So in no particular order, I'm going to address a couple of things. In the last 2 weeks, the only thing that has changed is my appointment to the position. All other staffers, managers, people that oversee projects have remained the same. So if there's an influx of new questions or concerns or trepidation or confusion, simply, I would love to understand what is the confusion, because the only person that's changed is me. And if people have questions or concerns, this is the outside community, my number is published. I sit in the same seat that Deputy Mayor Palmieri had. I'm taking meetings. I'm meeting with different individuals. Yes, I'm here to assist. If someone can let me know what their issues are, I'm readily available to deal with those. The only other change has been we have a new CEO of NCEDC. He has all the skill sets available to deal with leading that organization. He was appointed by that, a search committee and a board. So those are the only two changes. So if there's more issues in the last 2 weeks, then I'm not sure what those new issues are, considering that only people changed. With respect to Councilman Ramos's statement about inefficiencies, as we know, that is my role as Chief Operating Officer to deal with all inefficiencies in the city on a systematic level. And now I'm in EHD and we're focused on that. So as of 2 weeks ago, we launched the one-stop office, which has a representative from all departments that deals with permitting sitting in one office, and that's B13? Room B13. They went through a week-long training. They're just scaling up. We're going to do official rollout and press release to alert the community on what it is, what's the goal of that office. And the major goal is that someone can come and get all their answers and questions and applications dealt with in one space. And I think from my recollection, this was something that was wanted at least 4 years ago, and it took up until this time for the administration, with my direction, to roll it out and execute it. So we're moving forward step by step. There's lots of irregularities and inefficiencies in the system that have been existing for a very long time. I'm doing the best that I can, and I would want to say that the administration is doing a good job by executing those in the short amount of time that we have been here. I ask for your patience, I ask for your grace. Like you requested 2 weeks ago, a presentation on zoning administration. From zoning and planning. That presentation has been prepared. It will be rolled out tomorrow at the night meeting. And the new presentation to talk about the strategy of EHD, we can talk about that, but we're in influx. We're doing a national search. I just joined 2 weeks ago. I'm gathering all the information, and we're going to adjust this properly. But if you can give me more feedback on what specifically, like if there's a specific issue, then that presentation will be more fruitful.
Madam President,
One quick question.
Yes.
You said that there's going to be a presentation tomorrow?
It was requested at the special meeting from Councilman McCollum, a presentation on what are the strategies and initiatives that are happening in zoning and planning that are driving lots of legislation requests that are coming from the office.
At the meeting
yes.
Tomorrow? No.
Well, in response to that request, which was supposed to happen at the special meeting, I responded and said that we needed additionally at least 1 more week. This gives us the week mark. I was going to approach you all again to say, would you like that presentation to happen tomorrow so I can meet the deliverable and the expectation that I communicated to you? If that is not where you would like it, then we'll move it to another meeting.
We have Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
No worries.
We have Tuesday, time set aside for presentation.
No worries.
Like that. It's not a part of the order of the day, so I can understand your need to make the presentation quickly. However, it's outside of the bounds of a regular meeting.
No worries.
And so we will, through the clerk's office, set up a meeting on our conference day.
Okay. And then we will request for the next special meeting, because it takes time to put all this material together, the presentation for EHD to talk about what is a strategy and articulate all our processes. We're going to need time to do that. So I humbly ask that we have at least 2 more weeks to create that presentation for you.
Yes, Councilman Ramos, followed by Councilman.
Yeah, I just want to state that, I'm happy to see that we're finally moving forward on creating this one-stop process. Actually was working on legislation with Elmer and Ron, establishing, the one-stop as an official procedure. And my point going back is that, again, you're increasing a number of different fees associated with development. You're increasing the amount that the city holds in escrow. And again, some of those resources need to be directed, and as you're doing your assessment, you'll find just in your department, or the department that you're responsible for right now, that you have a number of offices that are short-staffed. The zoning office is severely understaffed because they have so much activity, they have so many applications, and then there are other offices that your department has to interact with in order to get projects moving that are not necessarily under the jurisdiction of the building department downstairs being one, and they've lost a lot of key individuals over the last few years due to retirement, people have left the city of Newark, and all of that contributes to the procedural delays that happen within the city. And at least with those offices that are under your department, you know, it's great that we increase fees, that it's great that we're holding back more money in escrow, but some of those dollars have to be reinvested in some of these divisions because they desperately need it. I mean, you have 1 or 2 people working there, they have a ton of applications they have to review. You know, I feel badly for Susan Brown sometimes because she has so much activity in an office that's really way understaffed, so.
So I would like to add 3 other elements to this. So there's multiple things that are going on at one time. To increase employment or to increase headcount, we're going over our budget and doing budget hearings with the various departments. That is a Herculean effort, especially to your point that we've never introduced a budget this early in the process ever, right? So it takes effort and time to do that. Interagencies have to talk amongst each other, and then we have to think about all the revenue generating opportunities that are there, hence us increasing fees. And to increase fees, we don't just do that arbitrarily. You have to evaluate your process and compare them to other municipalities. Most of our fees are nowhere in comparison to other cities that don't even have the same amount of demand of development that we are doing, right? This takes time and process and evaluation. Nothing is happening haphazardly. Secondly, as I'm meeting with developers, the timelines that are being communicated are not realistic. So therefore, they're always going to feel angst and always feel like we're not delivering to them. It takes 30 to 90 days to do a pilot. We're promising the people this in 30 days.
Why?
You're never going to meet the expectation, and therefore, council people will always get calls about my project is being stalled or delayed because the timeline was never realistic to begin with.
Madam President.
So there's a re-education and conditioning to that.
I apologize to you.
No worries.
Councilwoman McIver's first.
Yes.
And then Councilman Quintana.
So I just want to reiterate about maybe 3 points that I made the first time I spoke. One, this is not about you, Ms. Rogers. This is not about your leadership. This is not about you defending yourself or defending how long you've been here or what you've been doing since you took office. So that's for one. When I spoke, I said I'm not blaming anybody sitting here because I know there's been a lot of transition, a lot of changes. So once again, this is not like a defense attack, or you don't need to be defensive to us. Not saying that you are, but we don't want you to come here and debate to us or argue your position because we know what position you were put in. We're very clear about that. These problems haven't gone back 2 weeks from when you've been appointed. They've been going on since I've gotten here in July, and these people, my colleagues who've been sitting up here, has been going on for years. The bottom line is, I think the point that I'm making is the fact that EHD is a critical department for our city. Everything they do, everybody's job, it is critical. Development is critical. Newark right now, everybody's talking about our city and how development is booming and we're moving, and we need to get to a fast pace at addressing that and having our systems and processes brought up to speed to the 21st century to meet that demand. So I'm not complaining about people wanting to come here and want to fast track and want to do all that. We need to find out from the administration perspective on how do we change what we're doing now to address that and service the people who are interested in our city. That's good for us. We have to put that in our mind, mentally, everybody. We have to understand that. That's how our city grows. That's how business gets here. This is how we continue to do the great things that our mayor is trying to do. So I do understand there's been broken down things happening in this department for a long time before many of us have gotten here. But at the end of the day, we have to find some way to address that. And we all can't be at a defensive point about it. And we do get a lot of calls. We've been getting a lot of calls, not within the last 2 weeks. Some people tell me they've been waiting 2 years.
2, 3
years. They've had property designated to them for years. Before the mayor, before the last mayor, they've had property. And so this isn't a thing that's happened 2 weeks ago or last month. This is stuff that's been going on for years. And how do you sit at a table, because I'm meeting with developers too, and you hear these things, and how do you address those? And so that's our point of talking about the things here today with the administration, because it's urgent. It's been urgent. It's not something that's going to take us another 6 months to come together and for us to pull up the pieces. And what I mean about who I don't know who to contact, everybody is running each project differently. I speak to one person about one thing, another person about another, then I don't get any response. So it's not clear to us on who is handling what projects. And for me, I'd rather just go through one person at this particular point, which I did email you yesterday about another item, because I do not know exactly who is the point person for each project. And so I'm just saying that it is critical. It's critical for us to fix these things and get it moving. And we're being patient. We're waiting. I think that everyone's been patient up here for a very long time. But at the end of the day, the development process and all of the departments wrapped up into it is critical for us to fix for our city and for our mayor's vision. So that's just my 2 cents, and I'm going to be quiet.
Councilman Quintana.
It's good to say what, we are challenged every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an appointed official. I was at one time. I got elected. And the folks that voted for us expect us to perform our duties. But when you have folks that try to get a certificate of occupancy, it takes them forever. When you go downstairs to the building department, which takes, they're shorthanded, and you have site plans for major projects. Site plans take a long time to be reviewed and to be approved. So it's just a long process. We're here to be, as I remember, years back, there was the Department of Engineering, going back 20 years ago. The Department of Engineering was basically handling the engineering department, had a person who would sit at the planning board, the Board of Adjustment, who would answer some of the questions that have to be answered. Then we have code enforcement as another entity. Then you have the building department. And folks get frustrated when they come here. They go to another town, maybe the fees are higher or lower, or whatever we want to put, but they get results. So as an elected official who got elected, people are saying, we hold you accountable. We're not holding the staff accountable, it's you guys. So again, I just want to put that on the record that it's difficult to, downstairs, the building department, by the time they get something to Susan's department, it takes forever. And we're shorthanded. We lost some of the talent that we had down, some of the folks that left. Now, some of the town inherited what we had. Some individual downstairs worked downstairs, now he works in Passaic. The people in Passaic, I go up to Clifton, to Jamie's, they said, wow, how great. This guy is just fantastic. We lost. So we need to make sure that we, as Councilman Ramos said, one-stop shop, that people come here, they want to know, they got to pay $20 to go park across the street. They got to get frustrated, come 4 or 5 times to see where their paperwork is, and there's no tracking. And there has to be tracking. See, as an elected official, I have to take that responsibility because we're the ones that are being challenged every day. And we're challenged. When we go up to have lunch or dinner, oh, you guys take forever. I'm giving up on the project. I'm going over to Jersey City. I'm going somewhere else, but I gave up on Newark. These are the frustrated, what we are frustrated with. We're not here I'm not here to fight with anyone in the administration. And listen, we're on the same team. What we want is good government, but we want to make sure that people just don't come to this building and leave dissatisfied, that people in this building do not make sure that they don't have their right permits. They're coming 1 and 3 times a week. And the time is consuming for some folks. Some people are waiting to put shovels on the ground now. And they're telling them that their next appointment on the Board of Adjustment will be in August. So it's just, that needs to we need to do more than just talk about it. We need to do something about it.
So you're right.
That's my 2 cents.
Councilman McCallum.
I have a quick comment. Ms. Rogers, as Councilwoman LaMonica stated, it's not about the last 2 weeks. It's much longer than that. It's about the variances from the Booker administration. It's about the whole process. None of the developers are waiting for a month. Nothing happens in a month.
Yes.
But when it's going 2 and 3 and 4 years, that's what we're talking about. And the developers are losing millions of dollars. The ward is still blighted. We have things, approvals that still can't be built. They come here, there's not a quorum. The developers are petrified when they come to the zoning board. You might have 5 commissioners up here, and they're scared if they don't get all 5 commissioners, they pull it back. Then they wait another 6 or 8 months, and in the meantime, nothing's being built. That's our frustration. We don't expect you to turn things around in 2 weeks. It's impossible. But we expect, we hopefully think that you have a good team to be able to change the processes. So that's what we're talking about. But things have to change. The departments have to communicate. I mean, when I have to come in here and my colleagues and go bounce around to departments trying to facilitate permits and things like that, that's going too far. So that's what we're asking for, some change and to make things better. And, hopefully you're on the right road to do that. I know you have my man Watson standing there and Eric Pennington, so, hopefully you guys can get it turned around, slowly but surely.
So,
I appreciate the feedback.
I'm going to get my little 2 cents in. Good, bad, and somewhere in between. I agree that all of my colleagues are correct in that this process has been stuck in the mud for years before you came. So you inherited a bad package. No one is perfect, but certainly I commend that thought to you. So do not become discouraged. We want to support you. We want to be able to say that things are moving, but there is a part of what we do that you never see. The referendum on your department doesn't come from us. It comes from the public. We cannot go anywhere without someone approaching us about a project that is 2 years, 3 years. I'm using all my money. We see this. You don't get to see this unless you're going to a community meeting, and I do applaud both you and Chris for attending some of the meetings that I have been. So I take the words as wisdom, not just criticism, because when we help you look good, you look good. And EHD is a bad word right now, a 3-letter bad word. Eric, I'm sorry, Mr. Pennington, is that okay if I say that? Okay. When you have the opportunity, and let me say, when we sound frustrated, know that we are, but that's because we see what you don't see from our neighbors. Councilman Gonzalez.
Ms. Rogers, as everybody said, not about you. I believe you are doing a great job. I believe you will do a great job, and I trust that you will. But some projects do have like a speedier process than others. Let's say we go down here to Green Street, and we see cranes there, and we see that project is moving very fast. Actually, they evicted us like 2 weeks before the project started. So that project is moving very, very fast. Other projects, however, move very slowly. So we have to, I believe, we have to make sure that all the projects move at the same speed. The mayor mentions that we have $4 billion in projects. $4 billion is a ton of money.
Yes, it is.
And it's a ton of projects. If we do not improve in the way that we're processing those projects. Some of those projects may never materialize, and we have to be careful that we don't kill the goose that is laying the golden eggs, because I believe that the city of Newark needs all the development that we can get, all the ratables that we can get, all the jobs that we can get, so that we can move the city, as the mayor said, forward. I believe that if we don't do that, if we don't expedite the process of approval of permits and stuff like that, we're putting in jeopardy the progress of this city. I trust that you will do the right thing. I have seen that they say that you are, let's say, a person that thinks through and move forward with the projects, and I trust that you will do that there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
Eight C is an amendment to Chapter 61, Title 61, Chapter 12, Section 2.1 for the revised general ordinance. This is to amend and to correct the current terms of office.
What is it going to do? That modifies the zoning board and?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, this makes adjustments to some errors in the zoning board appointments.
This is going to make it in agreement with the person that appoints?
Yeah.
Concurrent. If I appoint someone and I am voted out, that person that I appointed should be out. Is that what that does?
No, because unfortunately, the state law which creates the position requires a 4-year term. It doesn't allow the type of shift that you're talking about.
Then we have to talk to our representatives in Trenton so that law can be changed, because it's unfair that if I am a newly elected council person, I have someone representing me at those boards that is not in tune with what I think.
Mr. Clerk.
That's happening to some of our members here that have individuals on those boards that are not doing or are not on the same page as the person that is supposed to have appointed them, and I believe that's not good.
Mr. Clerk, based on the, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, well, some of them don't feel they were appointed by the council anyway.
Well, yes, yeah, but they were appointed by somebody else.
Oh, they were appointed by the council, but once they get on there, they don't seem to think they were appointed by the council.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So what's the solution?
What is intended with this ordinance? This one here now.
There were some issues with the dates of some of appointments of some of the individuals that are being corrected here. This is not dealing with the overall question of their appointment. This is very specific legislation for very specific issues with individual appointments.
Like typos or what on the dates or whatever.
Incorrect dates that were applied in the original resolutions, things of that nature.
Okay. But I believe we need another ordinance that is going to correct or is going to amend that, and I believe that we need a new statute in the books.
Where the dates coincide?
Yes.
Councilman, technically, the way the process works, the two should coincide. With a 4-year appointment, if you appoint someone at the beginning of your term, 4 years later at the end of your term, if you are not reelected, if you do not come back to office, that person's term should expire.
It's a 3-year term. No, I believe in some cases it's a 3-year term.
It's 3 years.
Yeah. So I appoint someone, let's say 3 years, I renew that person after the 3rd year, that person is going to be there 2 years after I'm gone.
Correct.
Councilman, Elmer Herman, we've just been looking into the statute, the ordinance, and the list of the current members of the Board of Adjustment. I handed it to Councilman Ramos at the last meeting. It's a 4-year term. What we were trying to see was, could we change the ordinance to make it coterminous
Yes.
council appointments. Now,
But-
on today's agenda, you have tomorrow's agenda, you have a Board of Adjustment appointment, a 4-year appointment from January to 2022 January. That's pretty close to being coterminous, because you have a May
Because that
election.
person is, they say the appointed person is going to be elected in July, so that person is going to be there for 6 months before that individual can appoint somebody else.
Exactly. Now, if there's an appointment to the Board of Adjustment for a 4-year term, and for some reason that appointee moves, resigns, the reappointment can only be for the balance of the term.
It should be, yes.
So what we're going to try to do, and I think we may need to work on the statute with the legislature, is to see what we can do to try to bring this into a coterminous type of situation, because that's really the way it should be.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, we have interviewed.
Mr. Clerk, before you go on, so what's the will of the body? To defer this?
No, let's move it,
Move it.
We'll move it to first.
Yes. We have reviewed most of the appointees, and there is one that was not available, but is now in the...
Ms. McKnight has come in.
Will you please come to the microphone?
Hello,
Would you just
Council.
state your name and address for the record?
My name is Shakira McKnight. I live at 22 Goldsmith Avenue in the mighty South Ward. And I first would like to thank you all, the council, and of course, the mayor.
Ms. McKnight, you have been nominated by the mayor for an appointment to the Commission on the Status of Women. Do you have a statement that you wish to make to the council?
I just would like to thank you again and just let you know that I am looking forward to networking and bridging the gap between the women in the city and the young women in the city.
Council President?
Yes.
I just want to say, Ms. McKnight, I am so proud of you. You know I am a #1 rooter and a cheerleader in your corner of all of the amazing work that you have done with the youth and just in the city in general. You come from an amazing family, an amazing community, and I am just so happy and so delighted that I get to sit on the sidelines and watch you do all the work that you do, your grace, your class, your good attitude on everything. I'm just so pleased and so happy to call you one of my own, although I didn't birth you, but I am definitely so happy for you, and so I want to sponsor this, but I don't know if my colleagues may want to, fight over you, but if they don't, I'm definitely going to want to serve as a sponsor to this appointment. Thank you,
Councilwoman.
I just want to say something quickly, too. I promise not to fight over for Shakira. But I'm so pleased, and I congratulate the mayor for appointing you. Not only do you bring skills and energy and all of that, you bring a youthful perspective. There are those of us who are moving along, I'll use that phrase, and we need to be able to look back and see other young women coming along, taking up the mantle of leadership. I can't wait to see what's going to be your future. I know it's going to be great. Councilwoman, I defer to you to sponsor her, but I want to second.
Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President, if I
Yes.
I believe that we need more young women in those commissions.
Yes.
They bring a new vision, a new perspective.
Yes.
To these commissions, and we, as you say, we're moving along. Some of us have moved along.
Watch your mouth, Councilman.
It's important that we have the new generation being represented.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Madam President, I'd like to do the public speaking portion before we go into the executive session. This is a 30-minute period in which speakers will be given 3 minutes to speak. When you step to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record. You will see a small timing device on the podium in front of you, which will begin counting down your time when you begin speaking. When you reach the 2-minute mark, you will see the yellow light will illuminate, and when you reach your third minute, the red light will illuminate, indicating that your time has expired. Please look forward, speak into the microphone. We are recording these proceedings, and if you turn away, we may miss part of your statement. Please address questions to the chair and not to individual council members. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak at this time?
No one appearing, Mr. Clerk.
No one appearing? Motion to go into an executive session, council of the whole.
Roll call.
Waiting for tomorrow.
They're waiting.
Yes.
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 Yes. Oh, my God, I can't.